WNBA was set for her coronation weekend, and then it all fell apart. A brutal hit, no call, tears in front of thousands of fans and millions watching at home. A star pushed to her breaking point, not by the game itself, but by a system that failed to protect her. This isn't just one play, it's a reflection of a league in crisis, a referee system spiraling out of control, and the high stakes of a sport struggling to survive even as its brightest talent shines. Tonight we uncover what really happened on that court and why it could change the future of women's basketball forever. Caitlin Clark under siege.
Well, a young fan of Caitlin Clark just received what she's calling the...
You thought exactly what occurred because the details matter, and because what you see when you watch the footage back tells a story that the league would probably prefer you did not examine too closely. The game was Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. If you have followed women's basketball at all this season, you know that every matchup between these two teams turns into a physical battle. The Sun plays an aggressive, bruising style. They contest everything. They make opponents earn every point through contact that often pushes the boundaries of what officials should allow. This is not necessarily a criticism of their approach. Physical basketball is legitimate basketball, but there is a difference between playing hard and playing reckless, and what happened yesterday crossed that line. With approximately 2.5 minutes remaining in the game, Caitlin Clark was defending near the basket. Dejanai Carrington drove toward the rim.
Dejanai Carrington, of course, got traded from the Dallas Wings to the Minnesota Lynx, and it is absolutely crazy.
And as the two players converged, Carrington's knee made direct contact with Clark's groin. Now, reasonable people can debate whether the contact was intentional. This was not some theatrical attack. Carrington did not wind up and throw a deliberate strike. But watch the footage carefully. Watch how Carrington lifts her leg. Watch the trajectory. Watch how the contact occurs, and then ask yourself why the referees, standing feet away, called absolutely nothing. That is where the outrage begins. Even if you give Carrington the benefit of the doubt on intent, even if you believe the contact was incidental, it was still a foul. Extending your leg and making contact with another player in that manner is a foul in any basketball league on the planet. The fact that officials swallowed their whistles and let play continue is inexplicable. Unless, of course, you have been watching how officials have treated Caitlin Clark all season long, in which case it is depressingly predictable. But here is what makes this situation even more concerning. Clark tried to shake it off. She kept playing because that is what she always does. She even drained a clutch three-pointer moments after absorbing that hit, demonstrating the kind of mental toughness that has defined her entire career. Casual observers might have assumed she was fine. The announcers moved on. The game continued. Then came the moment that told the real story. Late in the fourth quarter, with less than a minute remaining, Clark passed the ball to teammate Kelsey Mitchell and started running back down the court. And then she stopped. She reached down, this time to her right groin, and her face told everyone watching everything they needed to know. This was not a player dealing with minor discomfort. This was someone in genuine distress. The confusion for medical observers was immediate. Her previous groin injury had been on the left side. Now she was grabbing her right side. Whether this represents a new injury, a compensation injury caused by favoring one side to protect the other,
missed 4 games with that groin injury,
or an aggravation of existing damage that has spread, the bottom line is the same. Caitlin Clark's body is breaking down, and the people responsible for protecting her have failed completely. Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA. What happened next is the image that will define this moment in WNBA history. Caitlin Clark walked slowly down the court, her hand pressed against her groin, her face contorted with pain she could no longer hide. She made it to the basket support and stopped. She leaned against it. She pressed her forehead into the padding, and she cried. Let that sink in for a moment. This is Caitlin Clark, the most mentally tough player to enter the WNBA in a generation. Someone who has endured pressure and scrutiny that would crush most athletes. Someone who faced hostile environments in college arenas where opposing fans screamed the most vicious things imaginable at her and responded by dropping 40 points. Someone who lost the national championship game and handled the aftermath with grace that belied her age. For her to break down in tears on a basketball court, something has gone profoundly wrong. This was not just physical pain, though the physical pain was clearly severe. This was exhaustion. This was frustrating. This was the accumulated weight of a season in which she has been targeted, hit, grabbed, and fouled, without adequate protection from the officials who are supposed to ensure fair play. This was a 23-year-old athlete reaching the end of what any human being can reasonably endure. And the response from the league has been silence. The response from officials has been continued denial that any problem exists. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert looked into cameras just weeks ago and declared that the officiating in the WNBA is fine. After watching what happened yesterday, after seeing the biggest star in the sport reduced to tears because she cannot get a fair whistle, that statement looks not just wrong, but almost delusional. Caitlin Clark's own brother has spoken out publicly, posting on social media that the responsibility for what happened lies directly with the referees. This is not some anonymous fan venting frustration. This is her family member, someone who has watched her play her entire life, declaring that the people who are supposed to protect players on the court have failed his sister. When family members feel compelled to call out a professional sports league, something has broken down completely. A season of destruction in the context that makes this situation even more alarming. This is not Caitlin Clark's first injury of the season. It is not even her second.
Missed 4 games with that groin injury.
What we are witnessing is a pattern of physical breakdown that should terrify everyone who cares about the future of women's basketball. In college, Clark was remarkably durable. She played through 4 years of high-level competition without significant injury issues. She carried massive minutes for Iowa. She performed in pressure situations year after year. Her body held up through it all. Then she entered the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is expected to be the #1 pick. Here to comment is Caitlin Clark.
And suddenly the injuries started accumulating at a pace that makes no sense unless you factor in what she has been subjected to on the court. First came the quad injury earlier this season. Then the initial groin problem that sidelined her and had fans holding their breath about her recovery timeline. She came back from that injury, perhaps too quickly, and now here we are again with what appears to be either a re-aggravation or a new groin issue on the opposite side. Soft tissue injuries are notoriously tricky. They linger, they recur. They create compensation patterns where athletes unconsciously protect one area and end up damaging another. And most concerning of all, they can cascade into much more serious problems. A groin issue that is not properly managed can lead to hip problems, back problems, and long-term mobility issues that affect careers for years. The question that responsible observers are now asking is whether Caitlin Clark is being overplayed, whether the Indiana Fever's desperation to capitalize on her presence has led them to push her beyond what her body can sustain, whether the medical staff managing her recovery has the resources and expertise necessary to protect a player of her value and importance. Because make no mistake about what Caitlin Clark represents financially. She is not just a talented rookie. She is arguably a billion-dollar asset for the WNBA. Her presence has transformed television ratings, merchandise sales, ticket revenue, and sponsorship interest across the entire league. Every team benefits when she plays, not just the Fever. The idea that such an asset is being managed with anything less than the most sophisticated medical care available should alarm everyone with a financial stake in the league's future. Some reports suggest that Clark may have entered yesterday's game already carrying an injury. If true, that raises even more troubling questions. Why was she playing at all? Who made that decision? What was the risk assessment that concluded putting her on the court against one of the most physical teams in the league was acceptable? And did that existing vulnerability make the impact from Carrington's contact far more damaging than it would have been otherwise? The officiating crisis. The referee situation in the WNBA has officially spiraled beyond poor judgment or inconsistent calls into something that can only be described as a full-blown crisis. What we witnessed yesterday was not an isolated incident. It was not a single missed call that happens in every sport. It was the latest and most damaging example of a pattern that has persisted throughout Caitlin Clark's entire rookie season. a pattern so consistent and so visible that pretending it does not exist requires willful blindness. She gets hit. The whistle stays silent. She gets grabbed off the ball. No call. She gets fouled in ways that would draw immediate whistles if they happened to any other player in the league. Nothing. Game after game, the same sequence repeats itself with such regularity that fans can predict it before it happens. Caitlin Clark drives to the basket, absorbs contact that sends her stumbling, and the referees standing feet away simply watch it unfold as if they are spectators, rather than officials responsible for enforcing the rules. And when people point this out, when fans express legitimate outrage on social media,
a sold-out crowd in Evanston tonight for the Northwestern women's basketball game against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
When analysts with decades of basketball experience question what they are seeing on their screens, the league's response has been to insist that everything is fine. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert looked directly into cameras just weeks ago and declared that officiating in the WNBA is working as it should. After watching what happened yesterday, after seeing the biggest star in women's basketball take a direct hit to her groin that went completely uncalled, after watching her reduced to tears because her body has been systematically broken down while officials look the other way, that statement does not just look wrong, it looks delusional. It looks like a league leadership completely disconnected from the reality playing out on their own courts. The implications of this officiating failure extend far beyond fairness to one individual player. When referees consistently fail to protect star players, they send a message to everyone else in the league. That message is clear and unmistakable. Targeting works. You can be as physical as you want with certain players and face no consequences. You can push the boundaries of legal contact knowing that whistles will not blow. That message invites escalation. It encourages players to test limits, and escalation leads directly to what we witnessed yesterday. A star player injured, an all-star weekend potentially ruined, a career potentially affected by damage that accumulates when protection is not provided. Caitlin Clark's own brother has now spoken out publicly, posting on social media that responsibility for what happened lies directly with the referees. This is not some anonymous fan account venting frustration into the void. This is her family member, someone who has watched her compete her entire life, declaring to the world that the people entrusted with protecting players on the court have failed his sister. When family members feel compelled to publicly call out a professional sports league,
it was also a big moment for one Boone County family who had courtside seats to all the action.
When they believe silence is no longer acceptable, something fundamental has broken down in the relationship between the league and the people who matter most. There is also a business dimension that the league seems determined to ignore at its own peril. People did not tune into WNBA basketball in record numbers this season because they suddenly developed deep appreciation for pick-and-roll execution or defensive rotations. They tuned in for Caitlin Clark. They bought tickets specifically to watch her play. They purchased jerseys with her name and number. The entire economic surge the league has experienced this year traces directly and undeniably back to her presence and performance. When officials allow her to be beaten down without consequence, when they permit physical play that crosses every reasonable line, they are not just failing one player. They are actively threatening the financial foundation that the entire league now depends upon for its survival and growth. The all-star nightmare. The timing of this injury could not possibly be worse. The WNBA All-Star Game is scheduled for Indianapolis, the home of the Indiana Fever.
How did she get to the WNBA? According to Clark, her parents had a lot to do with it.
The city that has embraced Caitlin Clark as its own since the moment she was drafted. This weekend was supposed to be a celebration. It was supposed to be the crowning moment of an extraordinary rookie season. It was supposed to be the stage where the league showcased its brightest star in front of her home fans, surrounded by the people who have supported her through every challenge and every triumph. This was meant to be her coronation. Instead, it has become a nightmare. From what sources close to the situation are indicating, there is virtually no chance Caitlin Clark plays in Wednesday's game. The three-point contest that fans across the country were eagerly anticipating, the event perfectly suited to showcase her legendary shooting range, almost certainly not happening. The All-Star Game itself, the centerpiece of the entire weekend? Even the most optimistic assessments put her chances of participating at 25% or less. And honestly, given what we saw on her face as she leaned against that basket support and cried, even that number feels generous. Think about what this means. The face of the WNBA, the leading vote-getter, the player whose presence transformed this All-Star weekend from a routine mid-season event into must-see television, might not even take the court. The entire reason Indianapolis feels bigger and more electric than any All-Star host city in league history could be watching from the sidelines in street clothes. That absence will be felt everywhere. It will show up in television ratings that fall short of expectations. It will manifest in an atmosphere that lacks the energy everyone anticipated. It will send a message to every casual fan who tuned in, this season specifically because of Caitlin Clark. That message will say the league could not protect its biggest attraction. That message will linger long after the weekend ends. This was supposed to be a victory lap. This was supposed to be the moment that proved women's basketball had finally arrived at mainstream relevance. Instead, it has become a symbol of everything that has gone wrong this season. A star broken down, a weekend overshadowed by injury, a league forced to confront the consequences of its own failures. Who is protecting her? This brings us to the most uncomfortable question of all. Does Caitlin Clark have the right people around her? Is the infrastructure currently in place sufficient to protect a player of her importance and manage injuries of this complexity? The Indiana Fever's medical staff is handling her recovery. They are professionals doing their jobs to the best of their abilities, but the results speak for themselves. Multiple soft tissue injuries in a single rookie season, a pattern of returns that may be happening too quickly, and now a potential disaster that threatens to overshadow everything she has accomplished. At some point, the calculation has to change. Caitlin Clark is not just another player working her way through a roster. She is a generational talent with earnings potential that extends far beyond basketball. Her brand value, her endorsement potential, her long-term career trajectory, all of it depends on her body holding up. The investment in protecting that asset should match its importance. Legends like Kobe Bryant understood this. When his body needed care that exceeded what team medical staff could provide, he sought out the best specialists in the world. He traveled overseas for advanced treatments. He built his own team of experts whose sole focus was keeping him healthy and performing at the highest level. The investment was substantial. The return on that investment was a career that lasted 2 decades at elite level. Caitlin Clark should be receiving that caliber of care. If the Fever's resources are insufficient, she should supplement them with her own. If the league's protocols are inadequate, she should go around them. Because at the rate injuries are accumulating, we are not just talking about a rough rookie season. We are potentially staring at career-altering damage that could affect her for years to come. Caitlin Clark's tears were not just a personal moment. They were a reflection of a league at a crossroads. The WNBA built its hopes, its growth, and its visibility around her talent. And yet the systems meant to protect her failed when it mattered most. Every missed call, every unsafe minute, every choice to let the situation slide has consequences that extend far beyond a single game or weekend. Fans are watching. Sponsors are watching. The league itself is watching. And the question now is whether anyone will take responsibility before it's too late. Can the WNBA course correct, safeguard its star, and restore the momentum that Clark brought to the sport? Or is this the beginning of a reckoning that could redefine women's basketball for years to come? The story is far from over, and the next chapter will determine whether Caitlin Clark and the league that depends on her survives the storm, survives the storm, survives the storm.